How much muscle can you gain past the age of 50? We have the answer. Watch this.
Our next caller is Jeremy from Ohio.
Jeremy, what's happening? How can we help
Hey,
you?
good afternoon, guys. How are you guys doing today?
Good,
man. How's it going?
Apologies up front. I've only ever listened to your podcast. I really have no idea how these Q&As play out on video. A little bit nervous here, but so just please bear with me that. First off, I wanted to say congratulations. I think the four of you really have something special here. But I also believe it is very important for you to be guests on other podcasts too, to help spread some of your information and knowledge out. Had I not heard Sal on Max Lugavere back, I think it was May in 21, I'd still be stuck in that breakdown recovery cycle that you guys talk about so much there. So after listening for several months, I did get anabolic, and I was really blown away by the results. I ran that through twice. It's as if I was achieving newbie gains, even though I've been lifting for 12 years.
Love that.
Yeah, it says here you did 50 pounds to your bench, 40 to your squat, and 30 to your deadlift.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, son.
I was pretty amazed by the results with that. I was really happy with my progress there. So at the risk of possibly stalling some of that gains, my email had multiple questions on it, but the crux of it was, what are the realistic expectations for building muscle over the age of 50, especially if there is a reluctance to add significant number of calories to the diet?
Well, if the calories part makes it a little bit more challenging. I'm assuming you want to stay lean while you build. Is that why you're doing that?
Yeah, I mean, to this point, I've basically had a recomposition. So I've always been a thin guy. But I've noticed that the amount of muscle has increased, even though my weight has not increased. So I didn't know how much further that could continue without having to add thousands of calories a week. Maybe I'd be happy doing, 200 to 300 every now and then, or maybe on just the days I lift. But to do that consistently, I'm a little nervous about doing that great of an increase.
Yeah, you don't have to go crazy with a calorie surplus, but a surplus, which just means more calories than is required to maintain, is necessary for the muscle building process. Now, if you have a good, strong signal to build muscle, you don't need a ton of calories. However, I will say this, a calorie surplus by itself, and I'm careful when I say this because people can take this too far, but a calorie surplus by itself can be anabolic, okay? Especially when your body's getting stronger. A lot of the strength gains that you'll get will be central nervous system adaptation, muscles moving better together. By the way, that's great. There's nothing, you're literally stronger. And then some of it comes from increasing contractile tissue in the muscle fibers. You will limit that by not fueling yourself with more calories, but you don't need a ton. 500 calories above your maintenance, which, if you're tracking and you know what you eat on a regular basis, you could just add an extra meal and just watch yourself, watch your physique. I don't think you'll gain tons of body. I don't know how lean you are. It depends a lot also on how lean you are. Like if you're in single digit body fat percentage. Okay.
I'm 170 pounds. If I had to guess, I'd say somewhere probably 15, 18%, somewhere around there.
You're fine. Yeah. 500 calorie surplus with good strength training routine, you're probably not going to gain any body fat. You'll gain muscle.
Especially if we do, I think it would be good for you to switch. Sounds like you've gone through anabolic twice. And so if we did another program that is a novel stimulus, then you're also sending a signal to get those like newbie gains again. And any sort of additional calories that we consume should get prioritized over to building muscle. So that would be my suggestion, is to, based off your goals, if we want to keep building muscle, is to switch to another MAPS program. And I don't know, have you looked through some of them to see? Because we could go a lot of different directions with you.
Yeah, I was actually considering, I already have performance and I have MAPS 15, my wife and I, she does, I got her involved too, thanks to you guys, and my son too. So my son's in college and he's doing anabolic right now. So, but I was looking at symmetry possibly, mainly because I've noticed some imbalance in my right and left side.
Love that.
So, and oddly, it's my non-dominant side is stronger than my dominant side, which is very weird.
Which both arm and leg, or just leg?
Mainly just in the arms. Mainly in the arm. I noticed definitely a difference in mass on my left, for instance, biceps and triceps compared to the right.
So you mean strength? Is it strength or just size? Because
both.
Wow.
Both.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes it has to do with the sport someone played or something in the past.
Sure.
But that's interesting. Symmetry will balance that out.
I love symmetry.
Yeah.
I think that's a great
one to focus on.
I think that's a great idea. I think symmetry, and then you could bounce back to like performance and go back into the kind of the three in a row that we kind of wrote originally. After
that, I think strong or power lift would be good as well for someone like you.
Definitely consider that. So going back to the question, I mean, realistically, how much muscle can someone expect to build after the age of 50? Is that a realistic goal to be able to increase?
Oh, you can build muscle at any age. It's more determinant on how long you've been training already. Like if you've been training for years and years and years, it gets much more difficult to build muscle. It also is, based off of what you were doing before versus what you were doing now. If I take somebody who's been working out a long time, but their diet, their sleep, and their workout programming wasn't so great, we can make huge changes in muscle. If I take someone who's been training for a long time and doing a lot of things right, it gets much more challenging. So that's what will determine whether or not we're going to see big gains or smaller gains.
Also, how you are health wise too, right? So, have you done like a blood panel? Do you know where your hormone levels are? Like where you? It's
funny you mentioned that. I actually just got this in the mail from Cabral, the sensitivity test. So I'm starting that stuff, but. No, I have not. My wife and my son have done more of that. I really just been along for the ride as far as that's concerned. I just follow the same diets they do, and we have a pretty unconventional diet. We stick to meat based and plant forward, more or less.
Okay, and you're hitting your protein targets, then I'm assuming.
Say again.
You're hitting your protein targets, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, because you're afraid of adding more calories, I would say you probably got some good muscle there that you could gain by pushing the calories up about 500. If you haven't done that yet, that'll yield you some pretty nice results.
Especially if you're eating good whole foods like that, I think you're going to be just fine bumping the calories like that. And then I do recommend getting the blood work and testing like that at your age right now. That's the areas that I'd want you if you were a client of mine. Just to see if there's areas that we can optimize there. If you do have any sort of food intolerances, if your hormone levels are lower, we could optimize that. So a lot of those things could play a big role in you continuing to see, gains through it past your 50s and stuff too. So I think you're already heading down the right path with that.
Okay, well, appreciate that. So, I mean, if I'm primarily doing total body workouts, 3 days a week, obviously there's a tremendous amount of stimulus taking place. So when it comes to the actual growth of muscle, what takes priority? Is it the loudest stimulus? Is it the genetics? Is there something I'm missing?
It's very complex interplay between a lot of different factors. Genetics obviously is one of them. Training stimulus is the other one.
Stress,
right dose, recovery.
Your body's like overall stress levels, hormone signals.
It's a beautiful dance. It's not as straightforward as one thing or the other. It really is. It's like, and which is why it's why all of us have jobs, right? If it was that easy, if it was that easy to where it was just like, hey, plug and play, and everybody should build or not, right? I think it's you're as a trainer. The thing you're trying to help out the client with always is to figure out, where are we missing? Are you have a lot of stress in the life right now? Are our hormone levels not optimized? Are we overtraining the body? Are we understimulating? Are we feeding the body enough? Yeah. So it's a very delicate dance of all these things. And so, I mean, I think you're heading down the right path. I think the fact that you're seeing the gains you are,
that tells
more potential there.
The fact that you've recently put that much weight on the bar and those big lifts tells me or hints very strongly that there's some muscle you can put on your body at your age. I mean, you gained 50 pounds on your bench press.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Your
relatively recently.
That.
Yeah, so that's huge.
You got to feed it.
Do you take supplements? Do you take creatine?
I do creatine. I do an amino powder, perfect aminos, and then as well as the different nutraceuticals.
Okay, that's it. I was gonna say take creatine if you don't, but you already take it. So other than that, I mean, the bumping calories, the change in programming should yield you some measurable muscle gains.
Yeah, Jeremy, I'm gonna have Doug send map symmetry over to you.
Awesome.
And then after that, the things we consider is maybe strong or power lift, but we'll send over symmetry to get you started on that. And then just keep us posted how things are going. And then Sal's advice, I think, at least 300 to 500 calorie boost a day through those whole foods.
Don't be afraid of the calories.
Don't be afraid of. Don't be afraid of. We could always go back the other way. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think what you're doing right now, you're on the right track, and I do think there's more in the tank there.
Very good. No, I truly appreciate it. I'm just looking to stay as healthy as I can for as long as I can, well into old age. I want to be the 90-year-old that can squat 300 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. I like
awesome.
that. I like that goal.
Good deal.
All right. Very good.
All right, thanks, Jeremy.
All right. Take care.
You want to hear something weird? He reminded me of a client who, so when he brought that up, that's why I was asking him about his asymmetry, how I'm non-dominant. Yeah. I've only had this one time, and it's probably super rare. I had a client who was weaker on the side that had significantly more hypertrophy. So they had a much more. I mean, you could see it was
Size wise, it was big.
Muscle size wise, there was significant visually. You could see more hypertrophy on one side of the body of their leg. One leg versus the other, and the leg that was bigger was weaker and had less stability. Now, here's what it was, because we couldn't figure out what the hell's going on. It was a very strange mystery. We were working with their neurologist. It was an adaptation because they had damaged nerves connecting to that side. So the body tried to adapt by building more muscle.
Building muscle to
How
compensate.
weird is that? That was the theory, at least.
And the body's like so
Strange,
great at
right?
compensating. Yeah.
You know where I've actually seen people have this, where the weaker or what they would consider the weaker side is more dominant, is sometimes in athletes, where athletes have gotten really good at organizing their entire, for example, like a pitcher, like a right-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
To throw the ball, it's not like they're just using one or two. They're using all that side to generate all this force
at the right time.
Right.
Yeah,
and so then when they go to do, like, let's say a bench press type of exercise, the weaker side, they have to be very technical on form. And so it's hitting the muscle, right? Where the other side, they can just generate power. And
they're getting a lot of more decelerating forces too.
That's right.
So
they don't have the same, they don't have
also, sometimes it's not as apparent or obvious, like a soccer player, right? Who's got, kicks with the right more often. Their left leg will have better balance. Yeah, because they balance on the left.
You're anchoring it.
Exactly.
That's the left leg's taking a lot of that.
Symmetry was a great call, though. I think it's a great call to send them that way.